Hey everyone, this is the very first episode of the podcast. Our podcast is beyond the big screen and revolves around discussing everything related to movies, anime, series, or anything related to the big cinema or screen that you can go and watch. So, this is the very first episode. I'll be one of your hosts. My name is Aman Srivastav. Along with me, I have my two friends. One is Karish Soni, one is Hardik Singhal. And so, this is going to be the very first episode. We'll be discussing about Prometheus. If you guys haven't watched it, it's a movie that was released in 2012 by Ridley Scott. It's a prequel to the Alien franchise, I believe. So, yeah, let's start. And all right, so one of the things I want to discuss is that I really didn't know that this is the prequel to the Alien franchise, because I'm looking at Google right now. There's a movie called Alien, literally called Aliens, which was directed by Ridley Scott, and which also has like a prequel. So, Kanishk, why is this the very first movie of the Aliens franchise?
The original Aliens was released in the 1900s, and that was the second directorial movie by Ridley Scott. And this basically was like a prequel to the entire Alien franchise, because this is where they start exploring how that alien comes into the picture, like how it was actually made and how it was developed, so that you see in the end, right, like after you have a blackout, then they actually show so it's spoilers ahead, but they actually show the abdomen getting torn and the alien coming out and stuff. So it's basically the life cycle of that alien, how it starts. So it's first, that black slimy thing, and then it basically becomes embedded in the woman, and then it comes out as that octopus thing which grows, and then that gets embedded into the human thing, and then out of that comes that. So it's like, these are like the different life cycle steps of that organism for some reason.
You explained it very beautifully.
Thank you. I'm amazing, So anyways, this basically, I think Ridley Scott made as a sort of a way to explain the entire thing. But I think it left more questions than answers, which was the biggest problem, which audience also thought. And a lot of the things were left to the audience to figure out, instead of having any sort of connection being pointed out either. So that's where I think the problem comes in for this movie specifically. What do you guys think?
So if you think that was the problem, then what do you think the movie meant? Like, the main thing you're saying is people didn't understand what the movie was about, right? And what let's say, the plot of it was complete. Not everything was, straightforward. So what do you thought the movie was about?
Hardik?
I watched the movie for Aliens as well. So, there's a tension between when you watch the movie, because it's really, the threat of xenomorph is very real, because we don't know anything about it. And it's an alien that you are stuck in a confined space. Very scary. But in this movie, there are multiple layers that have been put up. So there's talk about faith. So the angle of, if you have spoilers ahead, okay. So Elizabeth Shaw has a cross in her. She wears a cross as a chain, and that plays a very significant part in the movie. So that is one part. Faith plays an important role in the movie. Also, the relationship between parent and child, that is explored throughout the movie. Be it like Elizabeth Shaw literally giving birth to the xenomorph, or we as humans seeking the people who made us. That is also one of the layers in the movie. And also there is a layer about trusting and believing people. So a lot of things, and that is why I think, because it has so much, and there are multiple things in the movie, so that is why sometimes it looks convoluted, and I think that is the major problem with the movie as well.
The only thing I want to stop you with is you said they explored the mother-child relationship or parent-child relationship between that Shaw woman and that alien baby, right? But
Yeah.
I think the parent-child relationship is completely around David and that Weyland guy. Because because David, basically what David was trying to do was trying to impress Weyland, right? What Weyland wanted was to live so that he can ask those, the guys who created humans, what was it meaning for them to be there? What was the meaning for humans to be alive? And David was trying to do everything so that he can, figure out the answers to it. And he tried to bring Weyland to that alien guy in the end so that, basically that he could get some answers. So that was one thing. The parent-child thing only, I think this was the relationship they wanted to explore rather than, the child would do anything to impress your parents. That was one thing I thought.
But, sorry, I wanted to counter your point. You said that he took the old guy to the engineers because he wanted answers about life, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted to know how he could live longer.
No.
Yeah, that was the entire point. He said it inside the ship also. When the doctor comes.
No. He wanted to stay alive just so that he. वो अभी तक इतना टाइम तक जिंदा क्यों है, right? He wanted to stay alive जितना टाइम भी है. He was very old, right? And he was alive that much time because he wanted to get answers to why human beings were brought to this planet, right?
No. He wanted to go to his maker so that he can understand how he can prolong his life. He wanted to live longer. That's why he even came on the ship. That's the entire point of the movie.
What I'm saying is that is one of the drivers of the movie. But what Aman is saying is not about the antagonist or the villain of the movie, or I can say that old man. He's talking about the relationship between David and the old guy, the villain. Okay, that relationship is explored. Basically, the parent-child relationship is explored throughout the movie. So be it Weyland and his daughter. What was her name?
Vickers.
So that is also a parent-child relationship. Also David and also the Elizabeth versus the xenomorph, and also the aliens, like the white aliens, and also the Earth, because our DNA is matching. So basically, they also made us. So that parent-child or generational giving is a part of as a thematic depiction in the movie.
You're right. I mean, the parent-sibling thing parent-child thing is very valid. Even if you see, there was even tension between the siblings in a sort of a way. Like if you remember, there was that scene where he is talking to him. He has that yellow thing, and when he comes out of the room, Vickers asks him like, what did you talk about? And he doesn't tell her. And then she has to literally force him to tell her. Like, so there was even tension between the siblings for affection from the father.
But David wasn't actually a sibling, right? He was a robot.
He was a robot, but if you remember in the starting of the movie, when they just came out of cryostasis and they play that video for everyone, that time the old man, he says that David is the only thing he has closest to air. But it's unfortunate that he's a robot. He never even mentions Vickers.
Oh.
See?
Yeah. Okay, so one thing, we're going towards a lot around the center point of the story, I guess. Let's, start from the top, I guess. The very first scene, if you guys remember what happened in the very first scene, there was an engineer, right? He, I think, drank some black goo thing, and then he kind of fell into the waterfall and he died, right? Let's start with that. Because I think that was the very first scene. I don't think anyone understood what that scene was about. Okay, so let's start with that. What do you guys think that was about? Anyone?
So I will speculate. Okay, so what is about? So first of all, before we see that engineer in the scene, we first see a UFO in the sky. Okay, so a UFO has taken off. So what I'm assuming is, that like a population of engineers left in that UFO, and he was left alone on the planet that he was living in. And so he basically, because when he drinks the black goo, he's very confident about it. So I'm assuming it is kind of a suicide that he does in that particular scene because he's left alone. It's my understanding. I might be wrong.
Oh.
That makes
Actually-
sense, but if you look at what happens afterwards also, I think it basically explains the movie, right? So he drinks that and he drinks it near a water surface. And when you see that he gets dismantled, like they show the DNA helix, it's first black, and then when it gets mixed with the water, it turns red and it starts getting constructed again. So basically what they were trying to say is that that black goo first destroyed life from him, but now it's going to create a better life on that planet. So I think your point is valid. So the original species they left, and that one person who is left, he's going to create the next species by destroying himself through that black goo. And water is the main source, right? So that's why he goes on that water surface.
How were more engineers created over there? Like the guy in the end of the movie and those spaceships over there. How was that created if that guy in the start tried to kill himself with that black goo?
Because you saw how the DNA helix gets created and then the cells get created, the double cells get created, like multi-celled organisms are getting created, right? Like that's how evolution happened, right? From water, unicellular, then multicellular.
No, but because... but if you think about it, like if you want to procreate, right, if two humans are procreating, the kid would be a human also. Like if you saw in the end of the movie, that engineer got a kid, and that kid was like that helmet-shaped alien, right? In the very end of the movie. Baby.
That is not a kid. That is, if we call that white being as an engineer, okay. The black as a helmet guy, that is a xenomorph. A xenomorph is a completely different species than an engineer.
No, my point is, you're saying he tried to kill himself because he was the only one left over there. Right, then how did the engineer...
It was left deliberately. It was a deliberate choice to create. So that's how engineers create life. That's how they created humans on Earth. That's what the movie is trying to say. That the xenomorph came, the engineer came, he drank that black goo, it got mixed with the water, then the evolution happened, and now we have humans. That's what that scene implicated, at least for me.
No, but that scene wasn't on Earth, right? That scene was on...
No, it's on another planet.
No, because it's not mentioned anywhere. Like it's on another planet or on Earth.
Yeah, okay.
That is left to...
your imagination.
Your imagination, because it's not mentioned anywhere in this planet it's happening.
Yeah, but the point is that's how the engineers create life. Like that's the answer to that question. So in a way, the biologist, the lead actress, she was right that they were our creators, and therefore they are, if you want answers, they are the right person to go to.
So you're saying that guy the engineer drank the black goo, and later he started procreating humans, like in short.
He didn't start, he died there and there. But he was able to create from that destruction.
His cells gave birth to the entire life on Earth.
Yeah.
His cells were there.
Yeah.
He himself.
But what do you guys think about like the point of the movie in general? Like, what do you think it was trying to say?
Point of the movie, right? Question again. I'm not sure. Like, let's get back to this at the very end. Like, this is the end of the episode discussion, I think.
This is such an interesting topic, though.
Still, let's just move forward from this point, actually. Okay, so we understood how humans were created. Let's assume that's how humans were created, or Hardik said. Now, moving forward in the movie, I think this was pretty obvious, but I think some people didn't really understand this. How did these guys find those planets over there? How did these guys find that specific planet that they had to go and meet their makers? This was actually pretty simple because they found some ruins over there, and ruins they were pointing to planets over there, right? The one question that people don't get is how they figured out those from that picture. They had to go to this specific planet over there.
That is basically spoon-fed in the movie itself. That they explain spoon-fed in the movie itself, so they basically tell that how like there's a particular geometry in which these stars align. There's only one place in the entire galaxy where they can find it. So it's basically spoon-fed in the movie. Otherwise, there is no explanation to that. And otherwise, we have to suspend the our belief, and we just have to accept it that this is the reason that is provided. Otherwise, there is no thought-provoking or an intelligent answer to it.
Okay, so let's just move on from this one. Kanishk mentioned that this was Ridley Scott's not the best movie. Kanishk will explain why. Tell me why you didn't like this movie of Ridley Scott. You think he is one of the best filmmakers out there? You think he's God to you? He's like God to you. Why do you hate his movie?
I didn't hate
What was
this
so
movie.
bad?
I didn't hate this movie. Second, I think this movie was not his best work. I think he was pressurized to make a prequel sort of a thing. And since a lot of the themes which are covered in the movie I really liked, specifically how he tried to explain that humans have completely gone astray in terms of how to explain this. So the point that I really liked in the film was why. So this question I'm also asking you: why do you think the engineers wanted to kill humans?
There's actually, I was reading this. There was actually a very, there was like a blog written on this, small blog on Quora or something, or Reddit somewhere. I read this that the engineers wanted to kill humans because they figured out that humans were like a waste of time. The reason why they figured this out was that they sent an engineer to live with humans, and that engineer was Jesus Christ, and these guys hanged him on a cross and killed him. That's when these guys figured out humans are not their best creation, and it's time to kill them. Right. So
this is
hypothetical.
Your explanation, Aman,
It's
is not from the movie. It's
Not from the movie. It's actually from Ridley Scott himself in an interview with Movie Geek or something like that. I'm not really sure of which podcast. They asked him this question: why did they want to kill? Like, what was that 2000 years before? What had happened specifically? And when you think about it, so Ridley Scott never exactly said Jesus Christ because he can't. He says that he'll also be cancelled. But what the explanation he gave was that at that time, Earth was in chaos. There was a lot of fights happening everywhere. The Romans were fighting, the Catholics were fighting, people were getting murdered and stuff like that. And one of the explanations was this: that the engineer they sent to live with them, they sent him up when these wars were going on to sort of preach that peace is the way. But instead, what they did was they hanged him on a cross. So in a way, what it showed was that the human civilization has completely gone astray in terms of what they were meant to be and what they have become. Earlier, they used to be self-sacrificial, where the kings or the queen, where the kings specifically, they used to be at the top, and then they used to sacrifice themselves so that they believed that they would have a better harvest and stuff like that. Like that was the earlier beliefs in the Mayan civilization, Incan civilization and all. So what they were trying to say is that when that was happening, the humans were not just a prideful race. They were actually doing something for the greater good. But now they have become a very prideful race, and therefore they need to be destroyed and then recreated again, which is why they were going to go to the planet and destroy humans. And that thing got proved again, because when he woke up 2000 years later, the old man comes to him and asks him, why? How can I live longer? That's why he kills them, and he starts going back to Earth because he realizes 2000 years later also, nothing has changed. The human civilization is exactly as it is. He even strokes the face of the robot, which was very artistic, I would say, because it was basically the humans becoming the parent and trying to recreate something, right? Which is exactly what the engineers did. They created humans, and it was such a fickle sort of thing that they had created, which was not even like a real thing. So it was just like an uncanny representation of humans. Nothing true in that. So that's why he kills the humans and then he starts to go back, because he realizes that humans are a waste of time. They need to be destroyed and created again.
This is not then hypothetical, right?
Hypothetical as in
The
that's
Jesus Christ
what my
wala.
interpretation is.
No, the Jesus Christ wala part I'm saying. It's not hypothetical then, right?
Technically, it is, because Ridley Scott never mentioned it. It's never mentioned in the film. So you can't really say, but it does make sense when you think about it.
But they never showed this in the movie also, right? This is just, I think you're saying that Ridley Scott mentioned all of this in an interview. So
He
I think this
mentioned the
does make
2000 year previous thing. Like somebody asked him, like 2000 years back, why did the engineers want to kill? And this is what he mentioned, that it was a prideful race and all the fights were happening and all that stuff. And that got proven again, right? When the old man goes and asks him to prolong his life.
So why did they create humans then?
Because that's the
What
job. The engineers, that's what they do. They create life. They're sort of like God, you can say. But they're humans in the end. They're humans in the future.
Okay. And is every engineer like this big white guy, big bald white guy or girl who's extremely fit, who has, that muscular tone, everything?
Yeah, because they're humans in the future, right? They have evolved. They're not like us. So their exoskeleton and everything is very different from us, but the DNA is exactly the same, which is actually a very interesting point to talk about. Like, so one of the reasons people say that God does not exist and stuff like that is they believe that humans in the future are the gods. Like, we go back in time, we are the ones who actually plant the seed and everything. And that also is shown in this movie. What do you guys think about that?
Sorry, can you repeat? Yeah.
So a lot of people, what they think is that gods are basically humans, like humans in the future, like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years later. We evolve so much that we have the capability to go back in the past. We can visit previous civilizations and stuff like that. And we can then plant these seeds, which is what was also shown in the movie. So what do you guys think about that theory in general?
I think it's fair assumption to be made, because like if right now in our technical stage of human beings, anyways we advance, right? It's like given, you have to advance. Civilization will advance, everything will advance. And maybe in the future, some things like what people say, like time machines or anything, that hyper jump or whatever those things are, those things can be made, right? If you think about it from a person who was like 600 years back from us right now, right, when there were wars going on between princes and kings and all those things. But then these things might be, like godly, right? For them, they might not even think about cars or these things. They might not think about airplanes and stuff. For them, all of these things would be like godly itself, right? And right now in our age, we have some things like YouTube and stuff, where people discuss these things, what are going on in the past. That's why we already know these things are happening in the past, right? So it's like a fair assumption to be made on that also, right? And people from us, like 100 years or 200 years from now, they might not have YouTube, but they might have something even more better, right? They might have literally AR or VRs that can go back in time or see something, just explore those aspects of life. And maybe like 2,000 or million years from now, what you said about the aliens, that the human race is going to live somewhere else. Maybe the earth will get destroyed, human race will be evolving somewhere else. They might want to come back to the ruins sometime just to see what happened. These things can happen also.
We're talking about God, so like God is not an entity that is different for different people. So if you see God for like some people it's Jesus Christ, some for it's Allah, some for it's any other God or any other God. There are multiple gods. There is no particular one type of religion and one other practices are done. So having said that, there are also some people who worship plants and mountains as gods. The definition of gods is different for different people. And what capacity a god or the power or capabilities a god has, that also differs. So I don't know, because a concept of God is created by people. That is what I believe, because it is different for different people. So it's not a universal concept. It's a concept that is people have adopted them to their own needs, account different religions, different countries, different languages, and across times. Okay, for whatever reason. So as it is a concept, somewhat it's a concept created by people. So of course, you can think about anything. It's just a concept.
But when you say it's just a concept, in the end, isn't the concept exactly the same across all religions, across all? That the God is supposed to be better than humans. They're supposed to preach peace, and they basically have written our lives and stuff like that. Basically, they guide us, so we don't really have to be lost when we are in a sad and in a very depressive sort of phase, or when nothing is going wrong right in life. Isn't God just supposed to be like a sort of hope that something exists and that something has written your life, and therefore your destiny is supposed to be better, etc., etc.? Isn't that the same across all religions?
Yeah, so it happens. No, even if you see like any superhero movie or any autobiographical movie in which the person is very inspirational, there are movies made about that as well. So why do you think people like make these movies? It's similarly because people want to see good things happen in life. They want to see people who are better than. They want to be inspired by them. Same concept applies to any religion where people, of course, the people who are God are better in every possible way than a human man can be. So that then there's an ideal attached to them that we should seek to achieve.
So if you're trying to relate this with the movie, so do you think that someday our gods will want to come and kill us?
Like frankly speaking, the movie is much more does surface level treatment about the concept of gods. As you know, it's a very like the concept of God and about religions. It's very and its impact on the society. It's very complex. It can't be just explained so simply with 10 people in a movie. So I don't think so the movie delves into depth about religion and God. It is just that I think the movie is much more about the maker. They're also named as engineers and not gods. They are about the engineers, the makers that living the life.
Yeah, but I mean, they do explore enough for you to understand that. I mean, even if you don't look at anything else, don't look at any of his interviews, nothing else, it's pretty obvious that the engineers did create us. It's pretty obvious that the engineers were going to destroy us. And it's also obvious that the engineers were humans. So basically, engineers are humans in the future who have evolved. They created us, but they're going to destroy us because they think that something needs to be done about that. At least you'll agree to that part. And if you look at humans in general, what we have been doing for the past 2000 years, except fights, except pillaging, nothing. I mean, if you look at the conflict going on between Israel and Gaza, or if you look at Ukraine and Russia, I mean, so many conflicts happening around the world.
But that's something that needs to happen, right? If you want to progress, right? Those things need to happen, right? I'm not saying killing is right and those things are right, but like what happened between India and the British or the English, whatever. Gandhi came and said that they signed like a peace treaty or something, right? Britain will not come and trouble us if we break down into different countries, Pakistan and India, whatever, right? That was like the deal he made with them, right? I know not everything can be done like this. This is not like even geopolitically right, because what Britain used to do earlier, that used to go to every country, used to break them down. Like for India, they broke it down to India and Pakistan. Pakistan was broken down to East Pakistan, West Pakistan. And like so many other countries were done like the same thing, right? This was something, but what's happening right now, Russia and Ukraine is trying to defend itself. Russia wants to capture the control of it again. right? So there is going to be war among it. It's not a right thing, but I think it's like kind of a, I don't know if it's a perfectly good way to say this, killing is right or not, but something that needs to happen just so you can progress in the right way. Seriously.
No, I don't think. I think your intentions are right, but your phrasing is completely wrong. I think I do understand what you're trying to say. Ukraine is just defending itself, but my point is, even today we say we are so evolved, but even then we can't sit down and have peace. We can't have global peace at all. At all. I mean, Egypt had so many problems in trying to let the refugees in from Gaza, stuff like that. I mean, my question is, even today, humans are so self-centered. So why should this God not come and destroy us and maybe lead to a better civilization which is much more peaceful?
Why didn't he make it so peaceful in the start, right?
Because there's
no, but if you think about it, if you're a human being, like if we both are talking, we both have opposing thoughts, right? We might fight sometimes, right? This doesn't mean we don't have peace, right? But on a larger scale, on a bigger scale, in terms of countries and all these things, you can't expect peace to be made just by talking and stuff, right? It's not possible. And if you need to fight for your country, you need to do that, right? Killing does happen. Those things do need to happen because you need peace for the greater good, right? So when you say when like God, why doesn't God come and destroy us so he can have a more peaceful civilization? What if this is what the peaceful civilization needs to be like? It needs to go through this to go to a more peaceful civilization in the future. Maybe we're just the starting point of it.
That's interesting that you mentioned. I think there is a cycle. I think there is a actually, if we see the history, the time after World War II is the most peaceful time the recorded history has seen. Okay, so according to the historians, this is the most peaceful time that we are having. If we see the recorded 2,500 history of current humankind. And if you see about war, okay, in general, like because in the movie as well, it's about a chemical warfare. The thing that starts is about a biochemical warfare that destroys everything. That is the center part of the movie, where they are basically developing a black goo, which is a biochemical warfare, a weapon, and that actually destroys the husband of Elizabeth Shaw. So basically, David tries to, he basically infects the husband with the goo. So basically, biochemical warfare is there, okay. Right now, the coronavirus also has come and gone, and it's also biochemical warfare, presumably, okay. Allegedly, it's a biochemical warfare. So whether it's right or not, proved or not, that's a different topic. But yeah. Wait, what was I talking about? Sorry, I just lost train of my thought. Yes, but like about war. Okay, so the war will happen. Like it's about people are gonna do your like as we can see in the movie as well. It's about 2097. They are saying, and of course when it was space exploration, it involves a lot of infrastructure and a lot of investment goes into that. So Weyland Corporation, the company that is named in the movie, I am assuming they have spent a lot of billions and trillions of US dollars in making that ship and making the expedition, and just for one person, just for one reason, that a person lives a little bit longer. So that selfishness is there, which takes the life of the entire crew, and which presumably may have destroyed Earth as well, if the captain Prometheus had not barged into the alien ship. So that selfishness of the particular gentleman, of a powerful man, is also shown. That his short-sightedness could have actually killed all the people in the movie except one. Okay, he killed all of the person and could have killed millions of people as well, which is explored time and again in various movies, in various structures and in various formats and in various styles. But essentially, the greed of one person costing many people's life. That happens in real life as well. So that political aspect was there to the movie as well.
Do you think that was all the Weyland Corporation wanted out of them? They just wanted that one guy wanted to go to his or our creator, human's creator, and just wanted to, as you said, he wanted to live longer. I don't remember that line ever coming, to be honest, but do you think that was the whole thing about what Weyland Corporation wanted?
Yeah, it's not about the corporation, it's about that one person. And he mentioned also exactly that they spent $1 trillion on that. And they specifically mentioned that also. And it was specifically so that he could live longer.
What do you think? What would happen? What would have happened if he didn't kill him? What do you think he expected out of it? That's what I'm asking.
He expected that the creator would somehow transfer him to another body or somehow create him, because as human, he didn't understand that the way that he created humans was through that decomposition and everything, which they showed in the start of the film. What he thought was that it's more like a robotic thing where, you can just tweak some parts or maybe transfer the consciousness or something like that. He didn't understand the concept that actually the engineer has zero control over the humans. All he can do is create and destroy. That's it. He has no control over what they actually do because there is free will. And so what humans do is completely up to them. Sorry.
If that guy has so much money, he might have a lot of resources. When I say resources, he might have scientists, he might have consultants and all these things around that topic. Right? So wouldn't they have mentioned it to him? This is not something that could have happened to him. Could not have lived longer. Right? Why would he have wasted that much money just to go over there?
Because that's the creator, right? Like today, if I tell you you can go to Krishna ji and then ask him for whatever you want, will you say no? I mean, if somebody has proven to you that Krishna ji lives on Mars and tomorrow there's an expedition going to Mars, will you not go there? It's as simple as that.
And it is also mentioned in the movie, that it's about belief as well, belief and faith.
Exactly.
So, there's a point, that the two doctors, Elizabeth Shaw and her husband, are basically the prime prime people on the ship because they're the believers that this is possible. That also shows that whether he believed that these people are believing, so that is also believing. That is one of the things as well.
Good. Hardik, previously he was going to talk about cycles, about how after war you have peace. I think when he completely forgot about what he was talking about.
So that is also there,
I agree with that cycle, but the point is that you always need war for peace, which is not sustainable in the long run. Like if you look at, for example, even Einstein said that I don't know how World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks. Because if there is a next World War, we will destroy each other. There is no question about it. Even today, that's the problem.
There's a lot of... See, it's not like that, in current world, only bad things are happening. Like technology has helped a lot of people in, connecting to people, make good connections, having a better life, spending the time with your family and friends, connecting to... we are a global, currently we're connecting globally, okay, through the use of technology. It's not like that everything bad is happening in the world, but of course, as the technology progresses, the capacity to do bad as well as good increases. So the bad will happen in a bad will happen in a substantial quantity. The good can also happen in a substantial quantity. That is part and parcel.
I'm
You
not
want to think
denying
about
that.
it? You want to
Sorry,
think
go
about
ahead.
it? You can think about it like this. If gods want to kill us, World War III will happen. If not, it won't happen. Like, honestly, it's like a simple logic then. Because you might have
I don't
heard, right?
agree
If
with
it's
that.
going to be, if you heard about it, then World War III would be probably a nuclear war then. If it's going to be a nuclear war, then there's like very less possibility that anybody could be living after that. Right? So, you can think about it like that. That's a signal from the gods that you guys are done. Die now.
So would you say that everything that happens is basically like a signal from God? So if tomorrow your life is going well, you think that God says you deserve it, and tomorrow if it's going bad, you think God says you don't deserve it?
To be honest, I'm not sure. To be honest, it really depends, I think. From whatever I've experienced, I feel like if you, let's say just like a small example, if you want to get good grades in an exam, right? There are two ways I always believe. One, you can study on your own. Other one is you know how to cheat, right? Either or. If you can do either of them, you get a good score, right? But now, if you cheat, what happens is that you don't gain the knowledge, and you don't maybe lesson your semester exam. You don't pass because you can't cheat in that. And in your internal test or whatever, you get a full score or whatever, right? Even if you study in that, it'll help you out in the future long run also. So what I believe is everything is connected, to be honest. So like if you're working hard on something, it's gonna get connected. It's gonna give you benefits as well as the negatives of it, of whatever decision you make. I don't really believe it's, destiny or anything destined by God for anyone. It's like that, what I believe.
Okay. I think we should take another topic to it. What do you think about the movie being directed by Ridley Scott? Because Ridley Scott had directed the movie Alien way back in 1970s or 80s.
79.
79.
Okay. So he had directed the movie in 1979. And also after that, 1981 or 82, he had directed Blade Runner, which I think is one of the best movies made in sci-fi, especially coming from Hollywood.
It changed the course of history.
Sorry?
Blade Runner changed the course of history.
Blade Runner is the movie where we actually it explores the question of what makes a human a human. That is explored in that movie, which is also explored brilliantly in series called Ghost in the Shell. It's a Japanese anime, but that also explains beautifully. But coming back to the movie directed by Ridley Scott, so what do you think about being the movie being a Ridley Scott directorial?
Ganesh mentioned he didn't like it. I wouldn't know why he didn't like it. Again,
but not liking it's about like if you watch Aliens, if you watch Blade Runner, if you watch The Last Duel, which he released in 2021, a very amazing movie. They have always had a sort of like the story has encompassed everything in the movie. So every answer that you require is in that. Every question that it asks is something that you have to answer. It's not something that you need anybody else to answer for you. The problem in this movie is a lot of the questions that they asked, it needs to be answered in the sequel or by the director or by somebody else, basically speaking. It's not something you can answer. It's not like a philosophical question like, whatever we discussed previously, which is my problem with that movie. Because then to understand this movie, you have to see the sequel. So it becomes a sort of a money grab movie.
But then
it's not something I like at all.
But then what you said that all these movies make you ask the question and also make you realize the answer from your point of view, right? That's what you're saying.
Most of the movies, yes. The good movies always do.
So now, what about in this movie? Don't you think that he's trying to do that only?
Oh,
let's say right now we had like a very big discussion right now on this thing about gods. right? Why would gods want to kill humans? And we discussed so many avenues on that. Especially this one, for peace you need war, right? The most, like he mentioned like a date, I think after World War II, it was like the most, after World War II, this time we're living as the most peaceful time, right? So don't you think these are the questions he wants us to think about?
No, because for this you need external information to answer. So for example, why did David kill the guy? Like, why did he poison him specifically? Why not somebody else?
Because that guy was the one person in the whole movie who was looking towards, figuring it out completely. He wanted to do anything so that he could figure out where humans came from. He also was one person among the scientists, I think Shaw and the other guy, that guy was one person who was really determined to figure out the answers to everything. But why humans were created, what was our purpose in this planet, being born and all those things. Right. Now, I think what David figured out was, right, like what I mentioned at the start, that parent-child relationship. Weyland was one person who wanted to meet that guy, wanted to meet that alien. Right. Now to meet that alien guy or that engineer guy, David was finding stuff or was finding clues or things he could do to impress his father figure, that Weyland guy. Right. Now to poison that, this guy, what do you call it? Weyland's husband, Shaw's husband or boyfriend, whoever it was. The thing with that was what I think, that he figured out he needed clues. He needed something to figure out. He was trying to investigate himself, what was going on, how he can find that guy, how he can be, how he can impress his father, right? Like if you and your sister, you have a sister, right? Now, if you and your sister, like both of you have sisters actually. If you and your sister fight, right? Now, among that, if your parents support your sister, right, you guys will feel bad. You'll try to do something to make sure that you guys are your parents' favorites, right? Like, technically speaking, this is what happens in any family. Right. Now, if at least the younger guys. Now, if this is what is happening.
Yes, continue, sorry.
So if this is what's happening.
I'm understanding the direction you're going in, but I'm not understanding your point.
So that's my point, right? Now, he's trying to investigate the whole thing on his own. Now, if he's trying to investigate the whole thing on his own, what he did, when he went inside that cave, he took that black goo for himself, that stone, I think, and from that stone he took out that one black goo, right? And from that one black goo, he tried to poison only that guy because he figured out that he was the only one who was the most determined among all of them, right?
Even the other biologist was.
But he was also doing this thing on her also, right? He was trying to create a baby inside her.
I think the one more aspect to that is, the only female in the movie was Elizabeth. Okay. Who was part of the on-ground crew. That was only Elizabeth. Okay. And the person that was closest to her was the husband. And that is why after this David give the black goo after there is no trace of the engineer in the particular domain. After they discovered that there is no engineer, after Weyland has said that try harder, after that he poisons it. I think just because he's just trying to get the black goo or the creature in the Elizabeth. I think that is how David has planned it. That is why he did. Also, I think that is one of the reasons. I think also there is a reason that Aman has said that he is the most determined one, and also he is not very careful. He's a careless guy. He's the first guy that takes off the helmet.
It's not about the careful thing. Actually, I think like he was the one who was trying to piss off the robot the most, David. Because if you think about it, he was the only one who was always trying to, I don't know what the word is. Like he was trying to badmouth him. Like you're just a robot. He was the only one who was always telling him that he's just a robot. He can't be as good as humans. And there was also a point when he was going to give him the black goo. The robot that David asked that guy, why did you humans create me? And he told him that just because we can, we created you. Right. And the moment he asked him the same thing, like if your creator told you same thing, what would you do? That was, I think, one point. Like he got a lot pissed off when he said that just because we can, we created you. I think that was the point also. He pissed him off a lot in the whole movie. Like a lot of points.
Knowing that David is a robot, okay, and I think his primary objective was to serve his father, Weyland. So I don't think so, that was the emotional point to that. Like that was his reason to that. But might be. But I don't think so of him being a robot, cold-blooded robot. I don't think that angle is there. But it's a possibility, yes. It's a good possibility too.
But I think that the guy has really evolved, this guy, David. Because if he wasn't a bit evolved as a robot in terms, so he wouldn't care that much about, pleasing his father. He really wouldn't. He wouldn't even understand the concept of pleasing his father that much.
See, one more thing about that is interesting point because when actually the person like David and the engineer we meet, okay, and like David speaks something. He speaks in a foreign language, and we don't know what he speaks. Okay, that is one point. He may have spoken that kill us all.
Okay.
Like that is not explained in the movie, like what he speaks. He could have spoken anything. As an audience, we don't even know what he spoke, or the other people also do not know what he spoke. After that, the engineer gets angry. So whatever is spoken remains a mystery throughout the movie. Like what he has spoken. So it might have, that he had triggered the engineer, or genuinely had said something what Weyland wanted him to say, or had something said like what Elizabeth wanted to say. So what actually did he say is never explained in the movie. So the intention of David is also unclear, like what his actual motivation and things that is gone in his head. Because also one more point is that Weyland is killed in the movie. Still, David continues. He contacts Elizabeth. Elizabeth and tells her to rescue him. So there's a certain I would say uncertainty as to what David is thinking and why he is doing.
To add to that point, I'll also say that you remember that scene where somebody asks David about how your father is dying or something, and he says, doesn't every child want their parents to die? Like there I also think that he doesn't really have that much dedication towards his father or something like that. He's just doing it because he's been programmed to do it, to get everything that he says, but in the end he also wants him dead. So then adding to Hartik's point that maybe that is what he actually said to the engineer. It's possible, but then the question is, why would the engineer kill David also?
No, because David knows that he can't get killed, correct?
Well, okay, makes sense.
He knows that he can't get killed.
But then he also knows that if he could be completely stranded also, right? If he says kill everyone and David doesn't die but everybody else dies, how will David get out from there?
So why did he help Shaw in the end though?
Oh, because he wanted to live, right? He wanted...
No, not that part. The part where he contacted Shaw and told him that to get out of there, the engineer is coming for you. When Vickers was killed by that spaceship, right? She was the only one who was alive. Now she went
because
inside
he knew that if she survived, that she would be able to help him. That's why he told her. Otherwise, if she also dies, then nobody else is left, right? Then how will he get out from there? Because he's just ahead. He'll be lying there forever then.
What was his point for asking the engineer to kill everyone then? Like you mentioned that.
I'm just assuming. I'm not saying that he said that. I'm saying that is not
a possibility
explicitly told in the movie. Like what did he spoke? It is not in any way explained. So he might have spoken like kill us all, or he might have said, you're a shit guy, so something like that he might have provoked him. I'm still saying some things, but just top of my head, but what he said is not clear.
Mm-hmm.
That
Makes sense. What was your favorite scenes in the movie? Was there any favorite scene like which you thought, wow, that was pretty well done?
So the most, not the favorite, but the most creepiest scenes were when that alien was putting something in their mouth. Like there was two guys, that Fifield and one more scientist, who were left inside that mine or tomb or something, right? Alone at night. And everyone else came back. And there was that reptile kind of thing that went inside Fifield's mouth and I don't know, went inside the other guy's mouth and killed him.
Yeah.
That was the
Horrible.
creepiest scene.
Horrible. I hate those kind of scenes. I've seen them so many times, but I always hate them. It's like, ugh.
Okay, and also that guy's the most stupidest character ever to be born. Like, if you go to a different planet, if you see a wild reptile over there, like a snake, who goes and tries to pet it? Like, कौन जाता है और उसको ऐसा touch करने का try करता है?
Like talking about the stupidity, like of course, in the movie, the choices that characters make are not the smartest one. Being it a sci-fi horror, so it's not that people make very smart choices. Be it anyone. I think except from the captain, I think no one is very smart in making the choices.
I think even the captain at that point when he goes to have sex with Vickers that night, that was also a wrong call from his part because two of his men were stranded in a place. He should have paid attention to what was happening over there. Also, besides just leaving them.
Even because if you see, like, she left the comfort of Earth to come here, and the only reason she gave was, I would be bored sitting in boardrooms. And I was like,
Vickers was the most stupidest character, honestly. Like, she didn't do anything in the movie. The only thing she did in the whole movie, I think, was she went and tried to kill that guy, Shaw's husband or boyfriend, whoever. That was the only thing she did. Otherwise, she didn't have anything.
She was there in the film. That was her entire thing.
That and that, I think the parent-child relationship between Weyland and his daughter, and Weyland and the robot.
But it's not really explored. You don't really understand what's happening there. Why does he hate his daughter?
It's not explored.
What did she do wrong?
That was towards the character building of Weyland and that robot, I think. It didn't really add anything to Vickers' character or anything, or overall plot of Vickers' thing in the movie. But I think that was the only thing that was adding just to show that we can explore David and Weyland, and also just so that she can kill that guy. I think that's, to be honest, anyone could have killed him.
But like that's one thing, one of the general complaints of the movie, that any of the characters that are there, they're not fleshed out. They are just, like even if Elizabeth, like apart from having good instinct, like good survival instincts, there's nothing that we know about her. Okay, we just know that she has the faith that she will find her makers at a particular planet. Apart from that, there is nothing that we know about any of the characters. Like what do they think, or which things they fear, or what makes them laugh, or what is their connection, what is their motivation. It is just on a surface level, it is just there. So like I would call about characterization, it's lazy writing. But I think one aspect of the movie that is commendable and it's well done is the visual effects. Like when you see the shape of the ship that where engineers, the ship that engineer takes out. And even the inside of the engineer ship, that is very like it looks like something like it has been done well. It has either visual effects or something, even set design has done a good job. So that is there. And it doesn't feel like it's badly done.
Was this movie set anywhere in?
Some scenes I do agree, but a lot of the times, like the visual effects were very bad also. I mean,
in which scene you're talking about?
For example, when her stomach gets cut open, like it was, yes. I mean, even those, some of the scenes were okay. Like, for example, the old guy, his makeup was horrible. Like I can't remember the name of the actor, but the actor is very young. So they could have taken an old actor also, but they chose to use somebody like him, and the makeup was pretty bad. I mean, I don't know.
Who was Weyland? Oh, Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce, right? I mean, they could have taken somebody old. It would have been made much more sense. I don't know why they chose to do that.
Black Goo. What did that, portray, or what was that importance of, or what was that actually?
तेरी क्या बोलते हैं?
Black Goo, I think Black Goo was just like an organic matter. Like, I don't know what to relate it to, but it was just like a sort of organic matter which they used for everything. So, like, he drinks that Black Goo, he breaks down, and then he gets reconstructed and all. So, I think it was just something like that, but it has a different effect on everybody. So, when the engineers do it, then it creates life. But for example, when the humans do it, then it destroys them.
Not necessarily destroys them. See, like I think Enfield got aggressive when he drank that.
Because he was not affected by the Black Goo directly. It was the poison of the cutting that thing. And then I think he fell in the Black Goo.
He fell in the Black Goo.
Okay, then you're right. Yeah. Sorry.
And also, that husband got very sick, and also I think so it has different effects on different people, different subject matters, like any other organic or chemical thing that you take. It has different effects on different people.
Possible.
What about that scene where they went inside that tomb? Right, inside the tomb there were two scenes actually. One was that hologram scene, and when they went after that hologram scene, David deciphered some code or something, and that wall opened, right? A secret door, something kind of like the gate opened. Right, over there the Black Goo was, I think, solidified, or it wasn't moving, or something was happening properly with that, right? It was static, basically my point. So why was that happening?
I think just because they mentioned that, that due to the atmospheric changes, like when they have taken off their
terraforming.
Taken off their their helmets. They have taken off their helmets. Of course, a change in atmosphere would happen there, and also there's also a possibility that David had fed in some of the codes and may have changed some things just to reactivate them or see what happens there, or also atmospheric pressure changes could result into that.
I think it was just the changes, because if you saw before, when they just got in, they even had a shot where when they walk, there was a close-up of the heel and there were worms, earthworms or something like that. But later on, it's just the go which is left and stuff like that. So I think it's basically that as soon as the humans opened that chamber, they completely destroyed whatever the ecosystem was there, and because of that it became like sort of hostile or whatever you want to say.
And what about the painting in the wall? It was about that alien in the very end. What do you call that? The alien with the helmet kind of thing.
Xenomorph.
It was about the xenomorph. So what does that painting convey? Because that place was basically, I think, captured or survived or whatever by those engineers guys, right? There was no xenomorph over there.
Right.
But the painting on the wall was completely relating to the xenomorphs.
I think it can just be a diagram or basically a picture. What they want to achieve through this particular biochemical weapon. They were aiming for this, and what this could happen. I think that is just a depiction of that, and I think very significant because the head of the engineers is there on the tomb itself, and also in the inner chamber that we go into. So it's an engineer structure respected, but I think that particular painting is just to visualize what can happen here.
So who are these xenomorphs actually?
Actually, like, it's never explained in the movie, but what we see from the last scene that basically the engineer themselves get transformed or metamorph into these xenomorphs.
Do they metamorph, or does that engineer get pregnant and release that like a baby kind of thing, which turned out to be a xenomorph?
In the movie, it does happen that something does shoot from the stomach region, but then also we don't know whether that person, the engineer, was capable of being pregnant or not, or whether it was an
Female
implode.
engineer. Okay, huh?
It was an implode, so we don't know what actually happened.
So what was the connection between this guy, this Shaw's kid, Shaw's alien baby? So what kind of creature was that then? Because after going inside that engineer, it turned into a xenomorph. So what are they trying to convey? Like, are they trying to convey that humans, the baby of a human and a alien of that goo, and that engineer, if they come together, they make the biggest being of all time, the greatest being among all of them, which might be even, or maybe the destroyer of all beings.
I think it's just that the black goo, it's like a parasite. It is like a parasite, something like that, because just because I think when Elizabeth gave birth to whatever thing that is there, its shape is different. It has 3 to 4 tentacles, and it looks like a small octopus. But when she goes back again, it has many more tentacles, and it's much more bigger in size. So, and basically, it doesn't matter where you laughing.
I'm just imagining it exploding inside.
I was imagining in the detail में देखा 4 tentacles है, 4 पैर है, छोटा octopus है.
Actually, no. Actually, the thing is, in every, I'm very fascinated by this. In every horror movie, just listen to me. In every horror genre where there are aliens talked about, why is the octopus kind like thing is treated as monster? I don't understand. Be it HP, if you take even HP Lovecraft books, I know there is like tentacle and octopus, something like it. It is always there in every movie that you see, where an alien is there and something horrifying is there. I don't know why octopus is the first preference.
I have not seen any movie where they've used octopus. What are you talking about? Eels, yes, like something which is like long and slimy and it goes in your mouth or something like that, or in Evil Dead where it goes up the but like, what are you talking about? Which other movie has shown octopus?
So Evil Dead is what like I've not seen the movie Evil Dead. So what is the creature there?
So it's like a small black thing, and then it goes up like from the bottom in a woman. I mean,
even like which movies there?
Any horror movie, I've not seen.
See, Matrix. Even Matrix, that the the thing in the Matrix also, that there are the things that looks like they have many tentacles.
When?
Yeah. I think I'm talking about the wrong Matrix. Like the
Matrix. The one with Keanu Reeves.
Matrix, there is Matrix Reloaded.
Andrew Tate. The Matrix is going to kill us. Andrew Tate.
Hey, but like various movies, right? Like
Give me one movie. I'm not all various. Give me one. I have not seen any. Octopus I have not seen. Slime, big slime.
like octopus, squids, eels, these type of things.
Eels, yeah. Squid and all, no.
Squid, yeah, I've seen multiple movies. Even you've seen
Lagan.
I'm forgetting it. Yeah, there are, but yeah, there are movies here.
Okay, you can search and let us know, because I don't think octopus is like a recurring theme in horror films. Black slimy things, definitely. But yeah.
Have you seen The Thing? The Thing.
1970 something.
Have you seen it?
Is my hair?
Like actually, if you see, it is very interesting. If you see the movie The Thing, and you compare it to this movie, it's kind of similar.
For me, the surprising thing was I didn't know this Prometheus was like a prequel to Aliens. I had no idea. I started watching it, and then after 1.5 hours, I'm like, so many themes are so similar to Aliens. Is he just trying to make the same movie again? And then after I finished the movie, I went on and then I found it's a prequel. I was like, oh, okay. It makes sense then. I was very surprised about that. I had no idea.
Before we deviate, my question was, did that human and that alien, the baby that came out of that, and that engineer, right, do they create the greatest being, or do they create the destroyer of all beings? That was like the depiction, I thought, on the wall. I thought it was like the destroyer of all beings. That's what I thought. Like if tomorrow humanity or anyone who's gonna get killed, these creatures are the ones that are gonna come and kill us.
I don't think so that that Elizabeth pregnancy had to do anything with this. I think just happened. Okay. I think it's more what it was more engineer. It was like the parasite, the black goo, was basically infecting the engineer and not the Elizabeth. I think because even it is only after that engineer gets infected that xenomorph is born. And if you see, an engineer is basically a supreme kind of human being. So I think affecting Elizabeth would not be the primary goal. I think it was just, because the DNA matches, it was able to breed that child. But it was only after that engineer was attacked, and he was basically the thing basically consumed or ate the engineer. That is how the xenomorph was born.
So if you have seen Aliens, the guy who gets infected, the one who has the alien burst out of his stomach, he, like, the octopus thing grabs itself around his face, and then a tube goes down his mouth to the stomach, and that's how it gets incubated into that. So in a way, what she created was not the actual xenomorph, it was the thing that would lead to the creation of xenomorph. So if she would have been there after the octopus, like, when the octopus was wriggling around in the top, and when she tried to get out, like if he would have latched onto her at that point, then I think she would have given birth to the xenomorph. Oh.
So again, what is the xenomorph?
Have you not seen Aliens?
No.
Why are you useless? Go and see Aliens, you'll understand what is xenomorph. It's just an alien.
Yeah, it's an alien species.
It's an alien that kills.
But the ruins inside that had a xenomorph inside it. The xenomorph's photo, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Why was that there?
Sana.
Like there's no specific reason for that. I just think it just was there. A good set design.
It could be something like, just showing what actually happens, like premonition or like
because
caution.
because
Oh, like
this is
caution,
a
I think. More of caution, I think. Like just to show what can happen, like
no, I
beware,
think this
dog.
movie played a lot of significance on the premise of ruins and stuff, because in the start also, when they showed that those humans are pointing towards those planets right in those ruins, that they had a specific meaning around it. So I think there might be something related to that xenomorph in that ruins. Kyunki samjha nahi hame, but I think there's some specific meaning relating to that. What I think is that those xenomorphs are the creatures who inhabited that place, got extinct, and that black goo was the remains of those guys, I think. That maybe genetically or by some way those engineers might have, let's say, what I thought was that engineer got pregnant in the end. So I thought that if that creature impregnates that engineer, a xenomorph is born, which is basically more stronger than an engineer and could kill them, which in turn could kill humans. That's what I thought.
Possible. I have no idea. I haven't thought about it.
And also the hologram scene.
The most, so there was a lot of times in the movie which I was like, how dumb do they think we are? Like when the DNA matching sequence happens, it's exactly the same thing. We just overlap, and then she's like, "Oh, everything matches." Like, bro, no. What the fuck was that? That's hilarious, man.
मुझे कुछ समझा नहीं वापस क्या हंस रहा था तो ज्यादा.
When they do the DNA matching thing, when they show that screen and then it's like Tetris or something where it's like, all these bars and there's two bars, like one is a human DNA, one is that thing's DNA. They basically show that it comes together and matches. And it was so obvious it was going to match. And then it takes 2-3 seconds. And then it says that the DNA matches. Like, bro, of course it matches. What are you talking about? It's exactly the same thing. And then she's like, oh, it matched. Like, bro. That's hilarious.
But also it is an important part that if they would have told everyone that the DNA is matching, I don't think so the entire expedition would have gone so much forward. If they know that the DNA is matching, they basically means that it's a Darwin theory. It's not anything any magical or any scientific innovation that is there with the engineers. They basically have sent us through the DNA.
I disagree, because those people are still more advanced than us, right? Like even if you look at the spaceship that the humans had and the spaceship that the engineer had, like if you look at the difference in design and everything, it's way different. So those people are from the future, they have more technology. So the expedition, the main point was to try to understand why the engineers created us, and for the Weyland Corporation it was to prolong his life. So in both the cases it would still have gone forward, because the engineers would have had the answer to something like that. So I don't think there's many difference. I could be wrong.
One thing about the xenomorph thing I said, I think the xenomorph thing is actually right, what I said, just because if you remember, there was also a scene where those guys found a head of an engineer, right? When they took off his helmet, there were like those black goo things on him that when came in contact maybe with the atmosphere, it started reacting, and that thing started getting alive, or something they injected inside him. It started getting alive, and in the end it just burst completely. So maybe it was like a sign to tell like any engineers who were alive or who were hibernating underneath that place to not maybe create those xenomorphs somehow. because they never mentioned, right, how those engineers got killed.
No, the theory that they had in the movie was that they couldn't control the black goo or something like that, and it sort of created havoc. Like, that's the theory, and the only one who was not affected, the guy inside the pod, because he was already in cryostasis. So that was the reason he was affected, but everybody else
but his head was completely cut. That's what I'm saying. If
because
you saw,
they showed, right, that the door fell on him and then his head got chopped off.
No.
Yeah, they did.
Kidhar?
In the
But you
hologram?
can watch the movie, bro. Like,
Abhi
what
ye
is-
kahan tha?
even Hardik is saying tha.
And in the hologram, it was there. And they also show that when David comes and opens the gate, it is clearly shown that the other part of the body is there and the head is on the next side.
Oh, acha.
Aman, see, this podcast is about watching a film and then talking about it. You should start watching films first.
Okay. Thank
You
you.
can't just read up on Wikipedia and come, bro. That's not nice.
Wikipedia बंद हो गया.
Yeah.
शायद.
क्या?
पता नहीं, ऐसे ही बोला.
No, Wikipedia is a non-profit organization and it is struggling for funds, but I don't think so it has closed down.
Yeah, bro, चल तो रहा है. What nonsense. मैं कल ही तो पढ़ा
ऐसे ही बोला. मैं ऐसे ही बोला. मैं तो कोई दिमाग नहीं
I've
लगाया
actually
इसमें.
donated. Have you donated to Wikipedia? I've actually donated.
कितना?
हाँ, $1 था, but किया था मैंने.
क्या फायदा? क्या समझ रहे थे अपने आप को?
कुछ तो किया. तुम लोग तो कमा रहे हो तब भी नहीं किया है. Horrible people.
I think the last question to end this podcast with should be the name itself, Prometheus. So why the name Prometheus? The Latin conjugation of it, and also the name of the ship being Prometheus. So I think why the name was Prometheus, for both for the movie and the ship as well.
If you think about it, Prometheus gave humans fire. He first created humans and then he gave them fire. And for this, he was sentenced to eternity to torture, basically. And if you think about it, the ship, it destroys the other ship, but in doing that, it destroys everybody else on board. It destroys their chance of ever going back. And so they're basically, dead. So in a way, they are getting tortured. So maybe that's why.
But that happens later, correct? Why the name itself is given to the ship?
Because they do the discovery, right? They were about to give humans that discovery that would change everything if humans found out.
A possibility.
I think it was more towards the engineers creating human life and then going to kill them. Not really related to the specific Prometheus ship, but towards that thing. The engineers created humans, and now because the humans are not living properly, so they're going to kill them to restart the human race again.
Maybe.
Tera kya thought hai?
No, because in the movie it is told that Prometheus. So I think in the movie it is told that Prometheus basically created humans. I think that is one of the reasons why the movie itself named is Prometheus. And about the ship, I think also if you see the next species that is created happens in the ship itself. Xenomorph is created in the ship itself. It is not on the planet that happens. It is happens on the ship. That also is a wordplay there.
Interesting.
Possible.
Possible. Okay. So this was the discussion on Prometheus. How do you guys rate this?
So for me, a movie is not just about, the story. It's also about how I felt invested in the characters. Did I feel anything when I saw the movie? Will I ever watch it again? And for me, the answer is no. I will never watch that movie again. I didn't feel invested in the characters at all. As a story, it was okay, but I didn't feel anything positive towards it. It did have some good questions which it could have asked, I feel, but they really dropped the ball on that. So for me, out of 5, I would probably give it a rating of like 2.8 or 2.9.
Why are they getting 2.8 or 2.9?
I just told you the reason.
No, you said all the negative reasons. What's the positive reason? Kuch to hoga acha laga.
Positive. Okay, positive, I think some of the scenes were okay, I would say. I would say that the pacing was good. I didn't feel like the pacing lagged. Even though it's a 2-hour film, I never felt the pacing lagged. The set design was pretty amazing. That's true. Yeah, that's about it.
Hardik?
I would give it around 2.7 or 2.8 out of 5. The movie actually has a lot of, like as I said, a lot of themes like parent-child relationship, faith, biochemical war weapons, the question of humanity, what is the purpose of humanity, are touched upon. But the sad part is they're only touched upon. There's nothing, one particular topic that has been dealt in depth, and that also happens with every character. They feel like every character is a caricature and not a character. That also impacts the viewing experience. Having said that, the gore that is there, not gore, actually the creepy stuff that is there, it's of course like especially that giving the child scene, like giving birth to that alien, it's like when you see it in a one go and in a theater, it's difficult to watch, and I think that is what the scene is about. It's not easy to watch that particular scene, and that does the job for that. And also that when the main villain and the guy goes into that and where that reptile thing comes up, it also it does their job of being and pacing, and the its cinematography, it's on point. It doesn't feel like the scene is extended or cut down. It is good enough. And also I think 2 aspects were very interestingly done. That the puppies thing, the radar skin, I think that is it was a good part that they added. Like it was like how it map the entire area. It was very futuristic and very stylishly done. And also the part where the hologram part, I think hologram part was also decently done. With all the grains and pixels, it looked good enough. I think that 2 part was very good enough. And also the ship, the design of the ship, the alien ship that was designed, its set design was also done good. So that is why a 2.8 rating. And if you see, there is no the script doesn't have a plot hole, in the sense a continuity plot hole is not there. There is no continuity plot hole. Not a continuity plot hole is not there. So like something, it's not like taken and given, and it's not like that. And every it feels like one movie. It's not like that. Like it is a build-up for a second part. For many movies that are franchisee based, it's like a build-up that is there. So this movie doesn't feel like a build-up that is to the second part.
Really, you felt that? I felt it was more of a build-up, like not initially, but in the last half an hour or 45 minutes when they were putting up so many questions without answering, I started feeling like there must have been, thinking in their mind that they need to make a sequel, and that's why they did that. And then I went online, and it's true. I mean, Alien Covenant is the sequel to this, which is...
I have not watched the movie The Alien Covenant, but I don't think so. It answers the question that is left here. I don't think so.
It must. It's supposed to be a continuation of this, so I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I'll probably watch it.
So let's not.
Hmm.
I also have not seen it, so let's refrain from that.
Hmm.
Aman, your rating?
Yeah.
Out of 5, तो बहुत मुश्किल है.
Divided by
I
2, so
actually
divided
thought-
by 10.
मैं out of 10 देता हूँ मैं. Out of 10, I'll give 7 because I liked certain aspects of it a lot. So especially the thought-provoking things, like the discussion we had about gods and all these things. I like concepts related to that. It's inspiring you to think about how you're living life, and is there a greater deity above us who's maybe controlling our actions or things like that. I like thinking about stuff like that. That was one reason. The things that didn't work out well, one of them was the characters at all. Because I feel like if they removed a lot of characters and maybe consolidated the script to a shorter thing, or maybe made it a bit better in that sense, that could have been better. Because if you think about it, only David, Shaw, that Weyland dude, maybe 2-3 nurses for him, and that guy who died, Shaw's husband. Like these 4 are the prime characters, and the other characters who were revolving around them, they didn't really add a lot of it. Okay, agar uske alawa, you could have maybe written something else also, which could have maybe portrayed the same content. तो इतना उसकी जरूरत नहीं होती, maybe actors की जरूरत नहीं होती. Again, उसके बाद what else? Pacing was good. Editing was also good, I thought. The VFX and all was also good, मेरे हिसाब से. But I actually मुझे इतना खराब नहीं लगा, like compared to these things. I thought one of the things was that there were a lot of things that were unsaid. You had to maybe look for a sequel to go through it. But if you just look at this movie as on its own, then it's a bit, it's not complete. You feel you want answers to it, which, it's not kind of like, unless you have like a go-to movie just after this one, it's not good. But because there is a sequel, then it's a good thing, I think. Because I haven't watched it, I don't know. But they pose a lot of questions in this movie, which which they might have answers in Alien Covenant, which I haven't watched. So maybe I'm being hopeful that you'll get answers over there. That's the only reason.
I agree with your thing. I also, for me, the main thing was I didn't feel invested in the characters. Like, I didn't feel there was any chemistry between the two leads also, like the guy who dies and the woman. Like, it didn't feel as if there was any sort of connection between them. Even the father-daughter thing, even though they had Charlize Theron, and like that scene didn't have any impact on me at all, where she goes to him and he basically, sort of like disowns her. Michael Fassbender's acting was pretty good as a robot, I would say. I could feel that he was a bit different, not human, just a bit different, like just in the mannerisms that he had been able to portray. But except that, the movie fell. And for example, like it was so shallow. For example, the captain, the 2 underlings that he had, the only thing I remember after the movie is that they had some sort of a bet. That's it. I don't remember the names. I don't remember what their motivations were. They just followed the captain blindly, and the only thing that they had was a bet. Like
the only thing I remember, those guys died.
Exactly. So this was a very shallow film. The characters were not fleshed out at all. For me, it feels more of he made it for the sake of making it. Like for example, like if you see The Last Duel also, brilliant movie. The way the characters are fleshed out. I mean, okay, it's written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and somebody else, I guess. But the way he has been able to portray that movie, if you even compare to this. So, for me, this movie is really not like a Ridley Scott film.
But Napoleon is coming soon, and it's directed by Ridley Scott. So let's hope that it's a good movie.
That's going to be brilliant. Like from the trailers itself, like that movie is going to be brilliant, bro.
Hopefully.
Not hopefully, bro. It's Joaquin Phoenix along with Vanessa Kirby. It's going to be brilliant. And he's very good at these period pieces. Like as I'm mentioning Last Duel again because that's the last movie of his I've seen before this. I saw that in the theater also. It was so amazing. Like it just captivates you. One good thing about this movie was it captures you from the first scene itself. Like you're not thinking about who are these people, what's going on. From the first scene itself, you're just trapped. You know what's going on. You are invested in seeing what is going to happen. Like I didn't see any sort of disconnect from the movie, sort of a thing. Like if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like if I was seeing in a theater, I wouldn't be looking at my phone or nothing like that. As soon as it started, I was okay. What's going on? What's happening next? What's happening next? That was pretty good, I would say. Again, that comes down to the pacing.
Okay. So that's it, guys. This was the very first episode of our podcast. If you like the episode, do like, share, and subscribe. And also write in the comments if you want any specific topics to be covered for this, for this podcast. So with that said, here's a signing off.
Let's go.